What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American Politics, back with a new video, and I think it is finally time we do a little bit of a deep dive into the Georgia gubernatorial race. Mostly the Republican primary, because boy oh boy, are things finally starting to heat up after months of just no polls, no nothing out of the great state of Georgia. We finally have a real poll from a real pollster by the great pollster in Trafalgar, one of the best pollsters, if not the best pollster in the country. And they're showing some very damning signs for the Brian Kemp campaign. It's so bad that the shills saying that Brian Kemp's going to easily win the nomination, Trump's endorsement doesn't matter. Bullshit. Complete and total bull. Because this poll single-handedly debunks a lot of things about how powerful is Trump's endorsement, which it turns out extremely freaking powerful. Now, before we begin with this video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit the little bell, and yes. If you may tell my voice is a little bit like raw or something like that, it just, I don't know, my voice has kind of been like dead the past like 10 hours or so. Don't know why, probably should get that checked out, but I should be fine. But let's get right into it. So Trafalgar had a poll with 1,000 likely GOP voters, all right? These are voters that are most likely going to vote in the governor's primary. And to say that this is a bad sign for Brian Kemp's campaign is an understatement. Go down here. Brian Kemp's only at 49%. Guys, he's an incumbent governor with supposed high popularity within the GOP. Bull to the shit. If an extremely popular governor in a state like Georgia can't even crack 50%, which, by the way, is the threshold for the primary, for the runoff, I should say, you're screwed. You're completely screwed. I mean, David Perdue, I'm pretty sure he started his campaign, like, what, a month ago? Already at 39.5%. And he's running a pretty good campaign. Very underrated campaign he's running. And you take into account multiple factors. You got the Taylor vote, which, by the way, 99% would have went to Perdue. This is like the, the BoomerCon crowd that, are the QAnon people. That's the best way to explain. I mean, I think Lynn Wood endorsed Taylor. That's all you need to know about those voters. But essentially, there's a big chunk of, the Perdue vote being held out in the Taylor, the undecideds, the Garcia, even the Brian Kemp vote. So Kemp is not going to get the nomination at this point. At best, it appears a runoff is probably likely, but I think Perdue would absolutely just steamroll Kemp. But you go down here, and this is the point I'm trying to prove. This is how powerful Trump's endorsement is. Only 57% of GOP voters realize that Perdue has Trump's endorsement. 31% said they don't know, 7% said no, he doesn't, he didn't endorse anybody, and 3.5% really think he endorsed Brian Kemp. So 57%, and Purdue's almost at 40%. If, 10 to 15 to 20% more of the GOP voters realize, oh, Purdue's endorsed by Trump, Purdue's going to become the front runner easily. It's not even a question. You do some basic math, and it actually adds up pretty much. I mean, 20%, you do some basic calculations, voila. So that tells you all you need to know. I mean, the fact that only half of the, or a little bit more than half of the base even knows that Purdue's endorsed, and he's still at 40%, yeah, guys, Trump's endorsement is still one of the most powerful things in politics. It's not the be-all and end-all. I mean, look at Alabama, which I'm making a video on, but point is, you still gotta run on Trump's endorsement. That's what Purdue's running. What he's doing. He's running like a Trumpian-type candidate. And by the way, Perdue is a good Republican. Did he say some stuff and do some stuff that, I wish he didn't do? Absolutely. But on the core issues of stuff like immigration, he's one of the best Republicans in the Senate. Reminder, he wanted to reduce legal immigration by half. Does this sound like your traditional BoomerCon that really thinks immigration's good? No. He's one of the basest Republicans on immigration. So this idea that, oh, he's, he said some stuff is bad. Yeah, he said some bad stuff about Trump and stuff. But even then, I mean, that was really out of context, by the way. But Purdue's the best candidate here. I mean, Brian Kemp is just a failure. You look at the election reform stuff. Even if you think that Trump, somehow lost Georgia fair and square, or not even fair and square, you think he lost, how can you, with a brain, admit that that election was clean? I mean, Georgia, that was bad. I mean, my God, that was one of the worst ran elections in the United States, outside of Nevada, a little bit of Arizona, a little bit of Pennsylvania. But Georgia was one of the worst, probably the second worst, outside of Nevada, which I have a video planned, by the way. My God, that was bad. But you get the point. And David Perdue is most likely going to be the nominee at this point. I mean, the Brian Kemp shills are starting to collapse in numbers. They're starting to realize it's over. And before I forget, I got to say one thing to those that think that Brian Kemp's going to do better than Perdue. All right, this is my one argument against that. All of these polls showing Brian Kemp, up by like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points against Stacey Abrams. Some ridiculous numbers at times. Go inside of these polls. I dare you to. And you're going to realize, wait, a lot of these polls are claiming like Brian Kemp's going to win like 35, 40% of the Democrat vote, while a big chunk of the Republican vote is not going to vote. Start doing some math and you realize, oh shit, he's screwed. I mean, I think that Kemp would still win because the incompetence of one other campaign, but Brian Kemp he's not going to win by much. That's all I will say. Maybe a 2-3 point win. You look inside of the polls for Perdue. Yeah, the Q pollster has Perdue, tied with Abrams. You look inside of it, they're claiming like, all the independents are going to vote for Abrams. Not going to happen. So you look at all the math that's happened and you realize, yeah, Perdue's probably the nominee, is probably a better candidate. But I don't even think we have to talk about this race anymore because one of the most despicable acts by a governor candidate the past cycle I've ever seen do. And of course the left is making this about race. Everybody's probably seen this picture. If you haven't, you've seen it for the first time. No, your eyes aren't going blind. No, you're not going to have eye cancer or something like that. You're seeing Stacey Abrams, right? Sit in front, the walrus herself, sitting in front of kids who are all wearing masks without a mask. And she's telling your kids, you must wear a mask. And she does this shit. Is she breathing? Like, I don't know if she can breathe. I mean, I don't know, honestly. I mean, does lung capacity work? I don't freaking know. This should piss every parent off. They're telling your kids you must wear a mask, but they're not. They say, fuck you, we're going to not wear a mask. Look at the Super Bowl. This single message, this single image, has become Perdue's running campaign. His entire campaign, essentially. And it's working. Abrams is collapsing. This single-handedly destroyed her campaign. I mean, all the people that thought, I don't like Stacey Abrams and some of the issues, but, I don't like the Republicans. They're going to see this and be like, what the fuck? What the actual fuck? You're telling my kids to wear a mask in school, and then you do this shit. But again, it's just a scam. It's this entire situation with COVID. Guys, this has been bullshit, what's been going on for the past 2 to 3 years with the masks in school. It's despicable. It's hurting our kids, which is, by the way, backed by actual science. Not the 3-page studies the freaking CDC uses, but actual science. It's hurting our kids, and this crap comes out, and it pisses people off. I mean, guys, do not piss the parents off. Trust me, it's not going to go well for the Democrats. We saw this in Virginia. Saw this a little bit in New Jersey. Not so much in California, but most of the country that's sane, they saw stuff like this and like, fuck you, I don't like the Republicans that much, but they don't do this shit. So this is why I'm saying that, I don't care if, Republicans are starting to lose ground in Georgia. Just look at this here. In a blue wave year in 2018, Brian Kemp still won. He ran a good campaign, yes. But you take into account everything. This should have been Stacey Abrams' win. Again, she went out for 3 years after claiming she won. But still, she was never the governor of Georgia. If Brian Kemp, in a blue wave year, could win by almost 2 percentage points, why can't David Perdue, do a little bit better than Trump. Which, by the way, we all know, Fulton County and Gwinnett, we all know. Shady stuff went down. Not going to say much more, but why is that crazy to say? I mean, the only reason that Purdue lost was because Loeffler. We have polling data to prove that. So this idea that Purdue is going to somehow lose, in a red wave here, I wouldn't be surprised if Purdue wins by 5 to 6 points. He's a good candidate, good for Georgia. He just got effed over by the runoffs, by Loeffler, and quite frankly, Brian Kemp for doing nothing about the election security stuff. But that's all. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit the little bell, and yes. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Godspeed to all of you.